Today, I'll be presenting a case study that highlights a critical issue in international livestock export industry, specifically a tragic incident involving the air transport of Dorper breeder sheep from Australia to Indonesia in 2024. While air freight is often considered a safer and faster alternative to sea transport, this case revealed the serious risks that can still occur even with the best intention and protocols in place. Let's take a closer look at what happened, why it matters, and what was done in response. First, the location. The case study that I will present today took place between Australia and Indonesia, specifically from a livestock export point in Australia to Jakarta, the capital city of Indonesia. The livestock involved were the Dorper breeder sheep and they were transported via air freight, a method commonly used to export a high value or time sensitive animal such as pregnant livestock or breeder stock. The operator responsible for this export was LiveAir, a company that specialized in transporting livestock by air. The flight route covered a long distance, but it's typically complete within 24 hours, making air freight a faster alternative compared to sea transport. However, this particular case highlights that even fast transportation does not eliminate all risks, especially when it comes to the welfare and safety of live animal in transit. Second one, the year. This incident occurred in the year 2024 on the evening of August 17. It was officially reported by the following day, August 18. The timing of this case is particularly important because it took place during the period of increased public and political attention on Australia's live animal export industry. That same year, the Australian government passed a new legislation that will be phased out the live sheep export by sea by 2028 in response to growing concern over animal welfare and the ethical implication of long-distance animal transport. As a result, the air freight segment of the industry has come under greater security, especially since it's often viewed as a safer and more human alternative. However, this accident shows that even air freight is not without its risks and challenge. Third one is the problem. Now, let's move on to the core of the issue. The problem that emerged from this incident. The most immediate and tragic problem was the unexpected death of approximately 80 sheep during the flight. Considering that the shipment was a small consignment, this number was represent a very high mortality rate, which immediately raised alarms. The exact cause of death was not immediately known at the time of reporting, and that uncertainty added to the concern in livestock export. Any mortality event is taken seriously, but the sudden loss of so many animals in a single flight demand urgent attention and investigation. The second major problem involves the transport condition. Although LiveAir is the freight operator claims to use specially designed animal crates that provide proper ventilation, space for movement, and waste control, the data indicates that something in the transportation environment went wrong. Possible contributing a factor that experts consider include ventilation system or failure, excessive heat or humidity in the cargo area, delays during the loading or offloading, or even stress release the health issues in the animal. These issues point a potential gap between theoretical transport standard and real-world execution. And the third problem was reputational and regulatory risk. Incidents like this can significantly affect the public trust, not only in the exporter and freight operator, but in the entire livestock export industry. Australia released livestock export for economic revenue and international partnership. So, repeated incident or negative publicity can have economic, legal, and diplomatic consequences. Moreover, it increases a pressure on government regulation, impose strict rules which can affect how business operate in the future. For the fourth one is the solution. Now, let's discuss the step that we are taking a solution to this crisis. First, the incident was immediately reported to the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry, or DAFF, which is the primary regulatory body for the animal export in Australia. Timely reporting is crucial, not only to remain in compliance with regulation, but also start immediately containment and investigation measures. This was done by the Australian Livestock Exporters Council, ALEC, which oversees and represents the livestock export sector. Second, a collaborative investigation was launched. ELEC worked on alongside LiveAir and government authorized to conduct a true inquiry into the case of the mortality. The investigation aimed to identify whether the deaths were due to technical failure, human error, or environmental stressors, or a combination of those problems. This collaborative approach ensures transparency, accountability, and the potential for policy procedural improvement based on the investigation's findings. The third, there are proposed future improvements to avoid a similar incident in the future. This includes revising and upgrading transport protocols, especially those related to climate control and ventilation, exploring the use of real animal monitoring system where the temperature, movement, and stress level of the livestock can be tracked during the flight, and enhancing the pre-flight health screening and on-ground supervision to make sure animals are fit to travel and handled properly through this process. This case also takes place within a broader context of industry transformation. As I mentioned earlier, the Australian government has already passed a legislation to end sea-based live sheep export by 2028. Alongside this, they have allocated 107 million Australian dollars in funding to help farmers, supply chains, and exporters adapt to a new model of one that prioritizes animal welfare, transparency, and sustainability. And in conclusion, this case study reminds us that transporting live animals, whether by sea or air, requires the highest standard of care, planning, and monitoring. The location between Australia and Indonesia and the year 2024 marked a crucial moment in the live export industry. The problem uncovered in this case were serious: high mortality, potential transport failure, and reputational damage. However, the solution taken, from reporting, collaborative investigation, and the push for the improved protocols, offer a path forward. By learning from this incident, we can ensure a better treatment of animals and a more ethical approach to a global trade in the future. Thank you for listening. This case reminds us that the responsibility of live animal export goes far beyond logistics. It's about ethics, animal welfare, and constant improvement. While the incident was unfortunate, it also served as a powerful learning moment for the industry, regulation, and the operators. With a stronger protocol, better technology, and a commitment to transparency, we can work toward a future where the animal transport is not only efficient, but truly human. I'm Ardana Pramayoga, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.